And now it's official. The champions of La Liga Santander 2022-23 are Football Club Barcelona after 4 years of not winning the title, the league title. It has become official. La Liga champions.
Hasn't.
No, it hasn't. I'm going to regret doing this. It's not. It's been a weird day, dude. I'm like, we're sort of pop the trunk, improvise, put on the cameras, plug in the microphones, and start recording. I'm going to regret doing this intro.
No, you're not.
It's not become official. But dude, I don't know. We're like 2 days late. You've already done I don't know how many pods. It's just not the same anymore. My week is already on like rolling. The all the bliss, the emotion, the joy that I felt on Sunday. It's like I'm midweek now. I'm already in a bad mood. It's you know what I mean. Like
it's over. The train is past. Carvajal and Balde and Gavi and Ceballos are hugging at the Spanish national team.
They're hugging it
over.
up.
The tension is over.
Interesting one. Did you know that Gavi and Ceballos are practically neighbors?
No, I did not.
So they they're both from Andalusia, and they're both from towns that are separated by a mere 10 kilometers. And as you just said, they're hugging it out. I just read quickly.
I don't know if they're actually hugging it out. We don't know that.
Well, I caught wind of the interview that Ceballos gave Marca, where they asked him about it, and he said that Luis de la Fuente basically sat them down in a room, locked the door, and said, "Talk it out."
Interesting.
And they did. Yeah.
That's smart as a coach. I would do the same. You want to get rid of any awkwardness right away and make sure you focus on winning collectively.
Clearly. It's going to be an interesting time. I can't believe we're going to start talking about the national team before the Clásico, but I'm kind of like curious to see this new Spain under De La Fuente. Such pressure that is now upon him. I mean, at least we know the Madrid press will leave him at peace and work in peace because, hey, he's, took the token Madridistas along for the ride. But so at least he's got that on his side. He's off to a good start.
That's great. Yeah, look, I'm curious to see the Spain team. We'll be looking with interest, I suppose. Whatever you need to get out of your system, do it, bro.
Yeah, I know. It's been just a funky day, funky start of the week. It's been a hassle. It's Post-Clasico, man. We've had a lot of fun as well. Don't make no mistake. The orgasm that was Sunday evening lasted long into the Monday, at least, and it was. This was a good one, man. And I wish we would have talked sooner, but it is what it is. It's a Tuesday. Churros. Listen to this. Look, my son made this for us, actually. He's learning how to write. I mean, he's writing very well, both in Spanish, Catalan, and Castellano, That's 3 languages. Great. And he wrote this. And he wrote churros.
I love it.
But churros.
We should frame that somewhere and put it in the background. I like it.
Yeah. Look at the welcome with a U in front. It's good. Look, I'm proud, man.
For sure.
7 years old. 3 languages. But so it's a Tuesday, churros. We have a lot to talk about. The Clásico came and went. Round 2. We have another one in 2 weeks. Are you happy about that? Are you happy about playing a Clásico in 2 weeks at the Camp Nou?
If this were a situation where we could learn from previous mistakes, I would look forward to it more. But I don't have confidence.
That's it.
That happening.
It's gone now.
It's never gone for sure, but it's just like Ancelotti. You saw what he said after the game.
Yeah.
What's he going to learn from if you thought it went well? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think Madridistas have the right to feel pessimistic about that, given the fact that he didn't leave room for fixing things and amending things that went wrong because he thought it was great. Apparently, thought it was great after the Copa loss. He thought it was great on Sunday night.
That's true.
Totally different perception of what we analyzed it. And if he thinks it's working, then we're just going to see more of the same. So why should I really look forward to that? If
Dude,
it's the same.
On Monday morning, the first order of business for me is usually go over the Madrid newspapers, read the Madrid press. It's always been, actually. After Clasico, first thing I do is I check the Madrid newspapers since years.
ManagingMadrid.com?
I went to Managing Madrid, man. I was like, I got to check it out. And on the ride to work, I caught a good half hour or so of you and Lucas,
Matt.
was it? Matt, excuse me. It's Matt, Matt. Yes, Matt. No, of course, Matt. I would say, I can now safely say that, of course, you get an honorable mention, but my favorite journalist from Managing Madrid is Matt. I like the way, his perspective, his view.
He's got good ratings.
It's very nuanced, huh?
He's got good ratings.
He does. Yeah, I think it's fair. I thought I would, it's not often that I listen where I'm like, oh man, look at, with
That's great. I'm gonna pass that to Matt. He'll be happy.
Yeah. So and listen, but also you, man. At least on Monday, I felt that it was a very real, very raw and realistic. It had the 3 R's: a real, raw, realistic look at the state of affairs, perhaps for Madrid, and just admitting that Xavi's getting the upper hand right now in Carlo in these Clásicos. It's now 3 back-to-back wins and 4 out of 6. Like you said, I mean, it's leaving the Madridistas pessimistic looking ahead at the next Clásico in 2 weeks, because it seems like he's not learning or unwilling to make the tactical adjustments needed for Madrid to be more competitive. Having said that, I don't think it's necessarily as doom and gloom neither as you guys look at. I mean, and it depends which press you read, which Madrid press. I feel that others are taking this narrative, putting a spin to this Clásico in a way that is really quite nasty and unfortunate, I would say. And I'm saying that those are, I'm using light words to express my thoughts truly on that. And by that, I'm talking about the portadas, the front pages of the Marca, Real Madrid TV coming out now again with videos. It's I mean, to criticize a correct decision, it just looks silly. It looks silly. And I know that a lot of longtime listeners or viewers of the game will probably be thinking and throwing out Pep Guardiola after the, was it the Copa final, where he questioned the Pedro offside call in a goal that would have been, I believe, the 2-1. Do you remember that? I mean, Mourinho famously brought this up in
I don't remember Pep's comment, though.
Yeah, Pep made a comment about that, and Mourinho brought it up. And I'll be very coherent and consistent. Had we had done churros at the time, I was critical of Pep Guardiola. I questioned his reason for bringing up a correct call in an offside decision, as just as it was. Pedro in that play was rightfully called offside. The goal shouldn't have stood. And the same with Marco Asensio. So for Ancelotti to be very cynical about it, very ironic, and raising his famous eyebrow at the journalist when he was asking that question, and he was like, "Come on, man, it was clearly not offside," and doing this shit, giving it all of that. It was, I don't know if he said it was clearly offside.
I think he said he had doubts. That's what he said.
He gave it that. He was like,
I mean, you just gave the Jim Halpert from The Office. That's what that is. I don't know if Ancelotti does it with the smirk. It's the eyebrow without the smirk.
He gave it a smirk. He even gave it a smirk. Yes, okay. Yes.
All right. Listen, I don't like that either. I thought it was a distraction of the real
It's a distraction.
Yeah, I mean, you know me. I didn't like it the first and second and third and fourth and fifth time Real Madrid TV I put out these videos. I don't like it. I don't like it every time.
They're on a
And
mission.
I don't like when that's the post-match discussion. And I don't like it when the talk about everything was about moral victories, the exact same thing we criticize everyone else for doing when Real Madrid beat them. We hate that, and we have to be consistent with that. I don't like that.
No, I don't think so. Kiyan, had Madrid played, the heavens or the stars out of the heavens, and it turned out to be 2-1 in favor for Barca and a rebound goal, and I mean, nothing to take from Kessie. I thought that was a great finish, and the lead up to it was a beauty. I mean, the second goal was phenomenal. The first one was kind of fluky with shots being blocked and ricocheting off of other people, so ending up at Sergi's feet, and then good on him to capitalize. My point being is, like, had Madrid played phenomenal football and you come out saying this is a moral victory for us because we have a Clasico in 2 weeks' time, and we're gonna come back here with the same attitude and stuff it down their throats, and 9 times out of 10 these games you happen to win, but that's just not the case, is it?
Well, if that was a situation where it was truly like, one of those games where you can't do anything, the gods are against you, 9 times out of 10 you win it if you play like that, you can get away with that somewhat. But that was far from the case on Sunday. Yeah. Barcelona deserved their win. And I would even go as far as to say, like, even in that scenario, I wouldn't be okay with it because you lost the league already. It's in March. If this happened, like, okay, like this was, you lost to Barcelona in September and you're only 3 points back. But to take any moral victory when you're 12 points back and the league is over in March doesn't sit well with me, even if you dominated the game. It wouldn't have sat well with me to even talk like that because the league is lost. Like, it's gone. And that's what I wrote about in my article on Monday, that, like, it's not April, it's not May, it's March, and the league is done. Like, what the hell are we supposed to, right. The fans don't like it. We certainly don't like it covering the team when we have to sit down at our computers and do these post-game analysis of La Liga games from now on, which are kind of like friendlies at this point. No one's really interested. The only thing that's remotely on the line is the fact that Atletico are only 5 points back now, and you have to now look at not losing second place, and Atletico are playing good. Hate it. I hate it, man. I don't like the fact that the league is lost this early. And thank you.
I love this.
Thank you, Kool-Aid. Thank you for applauding my
this is good. This is good. And I'm not taking the mickey. I like that this hurts. I like that this stings. I like the fact that, of course Madridistas want to be competitive in the league. And, you listen to a Giuseppe Pedrol and his analysis, and we've of course, have so much to criticize about him and have done so in the past. But it's basically Madrid never cared about the league, and they're focused on the Champions League, and it's all this propaganda talk and diminishing the importance and the value of their league performances. And we were asked a question not long ago, I think it was on Friday or 2 weeks ago on the Friday's pod, where we rank Ancelotti in terms of greatest managers of all time, seeing that he's never managed to repeat league success, repeat back-to-back titles at any teams that he has coached. And,
and he has had great teams.
And he's had great teams. And that's certainly something to, I think, question him about or criticize him about, or put that, shed a light on that aspect, because it's what we respect and what's, what shows dominance and consistent success is winning back-to-back titles. I mean, why do we hail the Bulls team of the 90s as one of the greatest of all times? Is because they won 6 NBA championships during that time, right? And or the Barca in 11 years. I mean, that's something that Madrid haven't really managed to do, that sort of foothold or stronghold, whatever the word is.
I mean, NBA is a weird analogy because it doesn't have a Champions League. So, like, if the NBA had a Champions League, would the Bulls win the league or the Champions League 6 times in a row?
I mean, with Jordan, you're winning everything all the time.
Everything, just a trouble.
Yes.
Yeah, listen, you know what else it is, Diego? The frustration is that if you come second place in La Liga and you're down 12 points with a bad team, it's a different story. You're like, oh, well, we gave it a shot. This was our best punch. This Real Madrid team has a lot of talent, man. A lot of talent. And I think what the source of frustration is that there was a period where we played well in this game. Our only period where we played well was towards the second half. Ironically, we conceded at the end. But in that, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, like where the subs came in, we actually had something.
When the midfield came out.
Yeah. But I don't think Ancelotti looks at that. He looks at he doesn't look at phases of play and learns from that and be like, okay, how can we take this phase of play and make it 90 minutes? Because that phase of play was when we made our subs. And this is what I've been saying all year. We have a really talented team, but the players who deserve to play aren't playing enough. Like they're not on the field enough. And that's why I'm not really looking forward to the next Clasico. You think I was trolling when I texted you before the game and I looked at the lineup and I said, congrats. I really meant that. I'm like, yeah, I know how this is going to go exactly. I know how it's going to go. So, What
will it take for you to send me a text instead of saying congrats, say be careful, or tonight we're gonna have some football?
First of all, I would never text you that.
I Clásico, just like I Clásico before the game.
First of all, even if we had Cristiano, Di Stefano, Zidane, Ronaldo Nazario all on the field, I still wouldn't text you that because I don't want to jinx it. So you'll never get that text from me. But if there's any chance of me feeling that way, it would be Rodrigo on the field, one of Kroos and Modric on the bench. So you have Tchouaméni, Camavinga there together, and Carvajal probably not
putting Ceballos in.
Like at the very least, if you're not going to start Ceballos, he has to come in like 60th minute every game because he immediately just fights. Defense, offense, he's there everywhere. Yeah.
It's fighters you like.
What's that?
It's fighters you like, is it?
You need the people who like the guerra, like what I mean? You need you need to go in and fight. Like it's it's so it's not that it's passive, but there's a dynamism and youth to our bench players that are really important. I think to give Ancelotti credit, Camavinga has finally broken into the starting lineup as an indisputable starter, which was a huge shift in our season, I think, and a huge shift in when he started playing more last season. He changed the season. Now he's in the starting lineup. That's great. There's more. I think Rodrigo deserves to play more. I think Camavinga deserved to play the whole game on Sunday night. I don't think he should have been taken off. I was watching the game with my dad. He got so mad when he saw that Camavinga was coming off.
What do you think he did that?
What's that?
I knew you would be pissed about that as well. You would have. Do you think he did that in a way? Because I thought about that he's trying to avoid señalar, like shaming or signaling Modric and Kroos for the half-assed
Well, the thing
effort.
is, he took everyone off. He took Modric and Kroos off too.
That's what I'm saying. Did he think he took them off in a way not to make the vets feel, singled out? As a look, I'm going to save their faces. I'm just going to save the entire midfield. Because again, you say he has only just recently broken in. It's taken time as well for Camavinga to get his minutes.
But notice it's not for Kroos or Modric. It's for Tchouaméni, who is our best defensive midfielder, in my opinion.
Yeah, right.
And so, listen, I can tell you I'm going to make a prediction right now. I don't feel great about it. And I would love to be proven wrong. I think we might get by Chelsea because Chelsea are struggling this season. I think if we get to City Bayern, Kroos and Modric are going to start those games. It's not going to go well. There's going to be a bunch of substitutes in the 70th minute, and we'll make a run, we'll make a push at it. And is that going to be enough this time? I don't know. But I think like I'm kind of worried about running these guys into the ground now that Atletico are third place. Because on one hand, you're like, well, we can start resting these guys now. If we absolutely have to play them against Chelsea, City, Bayern, Napoli, whoever, if we get that far, then maybe we can at least rest these guys so we can get their best version. But then you look at, even though he says Carlo Ancelotti is partido a partido coach, he doesn't look ahead. So now every game is a final because you don't want to lose second place. You're going to start all these guys and just let them break down. You can tell me as a Kool-Aid what you saw of Benzema, because he clearly was not fit. He looked brutal out there, and like why
he was a non-factor. Yeah,
why
he
did
had
we
the
force
shot
him to play?
He had that weak shot in opening. What was it? 20 seconds, and then he disappeared. It was a relief, certainly, seeing that Benzema wasn't match fit. Look, I mean, I'm enjoying these Clásicos, to be obviously for obvious reasons. It's been time as well where the Clásicos weren't working our way and we're going in our direction. And with the arrival of Xavi, there's certainly been a shift. It's undeniable. You have to admit it. And I get the reasons why Madridistas would fault and be critical of Carlo Ancelotti, given the fact that he has so much talent, and that there's clearly a shift also in the squad needed for Real Madrid, where you've got all these youngsters knocking on the door and just not getting the minutes because of the philosophy of the head coach that is more, I guess, favorable towards the old guard, in particular when in critical matches where he prefers to play it safe and trust on those that have more experience. It wasn't long ago when the entire Bernabeu was chanting Xavi quédate. Wasn't very long ago at all when Xavi was a troll. I would like to know from you, is your conviction increasing in Xavi as these Clásicos or the games of the season go on? Is he living up to your expectation? Do you want Xavi to stay as a Barca coach?
I mean, that's more of a question for you than me, but
no, dude, dude, my trust in Xavi has never faded.
I mean, for Barca fans in general, maybe not just you, but like,
But I said the Bernabeu was chanting Xavi quédate not long ago. Mm-hmm. Do they still want him to stay?
Probably not. I mean, they probably would rather face Koeman than Xavi, I'm sure. As would I.
When I was talking about Ancelotti and listing those characteristics that you're critical of him for, it reminds me a lot of what I was talking about with Koeman in a way, or Valverde for that matter. Does that kind of resonate?
Maybe, but like my stance on Ancelotti is really weird because while I'm very critical of him, I'm also very thankful to him, and I have admitted many times in the past that some of my criticism has been reactionary with him.
Last year's Clásico.
And quite frankly, it's hard to, like, for me to sit here and if I had to choose any one coach in the world to manage us in the Champions League, I don't know if I would trade him for anybody. Because there's something about him that gets the best out of us in those Champions League games. Ideally, what you want to bring like probably, you want to like you could have two managers. You could have one for the league and then one for the Champions League. Ancelotti's your Champions League coach.
But has he? I know his track record in the NBA in the Champions League. Imagine that's next. He's going to take over Popovich. In the Champions League is better than anyone, better than most. But has he repeated success in Champions League trophies? Has he won back-to-back Champions League trophies?
I don't know, but that would be an unfair standard of him anyway. because
No, but we're saying his record in the Champions League is unmatched, right? I think he's won the most with the most different amount of teams, something along those lines.
well, he's definitely not won back to back, if that's what you're asking.
But he's never won back to
Zidane
back.
is the only one to have done it since Milan in the 80s.
But so why would you place so much faith in him?
Well, because winning back to back is an unfair standard. Like, Champions League is so hard to win. It's a lot of things have to go your way, and you have to be like foot perfect. And even then, like, winning back to back is Champions League.
It's not about perfection,
winning back to back in league. It's an unfair standard to ask back to back.
I haven't seen. Look, I haven't seen that documentary, right? The one that documents. I was going to say the one that the journey of last year's Champions League.
Yeah,
but I'm assuming you have, or if you've not,
couple episode,
even
not
reflect.
The whole thing.
Okay, well, even looking back at the way that last year's Champions League was won, which was a la épica, like it felt like Hail Mary after Hail Mary. You guys were touched by the Espíritu de Juanito. May he rest in peace properly and be left alone, preferably forever. No, I mean, my point is like, what made that so incredible from Carlo Ancelotti to have pulled off, as opposed to placing more of that on the players and their ability to sort of seek deep within themselves to, in the final minutes of every single knockout game, turn the table around unexpectedly so. You know, I mean, in the end, it's them out on the field and making it happen. Carlo Ancelotti, with his setup, would always fall behind initially.
It's an interesting question. I think you're essentially asking if another coach was our coach last season, if we would have won the Champions League. And I don't know the answer to that. You know, it's hard to argue. It's hard
to say. Do you give as much or more credit to the coach or the players for that win?
I think you have to give credit to both. Now, on one hand, it's possible that if you had someone else, like, for example, Zidane, or whoever who has been successful with us in the Champions League, if you had that kind of coach last year, maybe you win the Champions League without having to make comebacks. Maybe you just get the job done earlier. Maybe not. But I think it's almost impossible to argue against Ancelotti last season, because, to your question, would this have happened without him? Ancelotti's approach has should the players take the credit for being the ones who got the job done at the end? Of course, they should get a lot of credit for that. But you also have to give the coach credit for giving the players confidence in those situations. You have to. And Ancelotti's philosophy has always been freedom of expression of the players. You are free to do what you want in the attack. You can be flexible. Who am I to tell you, great players, what to do when you have the ball at your feet? You have to give credit to Carlo for that. I remember saying it after the Liverpool game in Paris in the final. I can't picture anyone else as coach right now, because he did the best in that period to get the best out of the players in that Champions League run. So I think it's really unfair to say it would have been done without him. But having said that, I guess the point is, because you asked earlier, we weren't perfect. You didn't need to be perfect to win the Champions League. But I guess my overall point is that it's incredibly hard to win, because even you just have to have a lot of things that go your way, and you have a lot of things have to go your way over and over and over again. You need just the right ingredients. You need the right set of kind of circumstances for this to happen. So it's such a hard tournament to win, as is La Liga, but I think it's really unreasonable to ask coaches to win back-to-back Champions Leagues, because what's different is that in the league domestically, we have lots of examples of coaches winning back-to-back. but in the Champions League, it's incredibly rare. Again, it hasn't. Zidane did it, but before that, it was Milan in the 80s. I think you have to look at it again. Obviously Real Madrid won it 5 times in a row, but then you had, did Ajax win it a couple times in a row? Can't remember.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, it's a rare thing, right? But the track record domestically is you get a lot of back-to-backs. That's why it's a little bit unfair to ask him to repeat. But the ironic thing is he has to repeat this year. Otherwise, he's done. And it seems dramatic to say that, but that's what it is. Like, if the league is over now, not even winning the Copa del Rey is going to be enough for him to save his job. He has to win the Champions League.
Yeah. And even then, you could imagine a sacking.
If he wins the Champions League, it would be pretty hard to sack him, especially because he's won it last year too. Be incredibly. He's not going anywhere. Let me ask you this. I mean, we haven't really spoken about your perspective or the Barcelona perspective. Are you worried about at all about the third game, the third Clasico, the second leg Copa? Or are you confident this is just going to continue? Barca's going to just keep going with this?
Well, of course, heading into this second leg at home with a 1-goal advantage after having beaten you guys to a pulp in the last 3 times we met. I'm joking, of course, but beating you. Any culé will be mad to be worried and not confident heading into this match. That's not to say that we're not cautious, or I'm not cautious and weary of the fact that Madrid are going to come out wounded lion with, whenever sentiment and emotions reach a point where it becomes euphoria in general within the masses is always a bad sign, and a sign that the contrary is, if not likely, certainly can happen to create for some shocking, moments, storylines. So, and it would be the ultimate confidence boost as well for Madrid, if not for La Liga, at least for the remainder of the Champions League. And, that's the last thing we need, is to be a trampoline to give you guys some confidence heading into your favorite competition, and win that one somehow back to back, while we win La Liga and have won the Super Cup and hopefully the Copa del Rey, who knows. But any time that Madrid at the end of the season win the Champions League, it's a downer, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm wary of that. I'm wary of that situation playing out and sort of becoming a nightmare in the end. Not so much, of course, for what remains of the league. I think, I feel very comfortable being league leaders, and my sort of jinxy introduction, one that I didn't really want to do, just for the sake that you said as well before, just for not jinxing anything and look like a complete asshole. If history does happen, and something would happen that has never been done before, and that is that at this point of the season, with 11 games left to play, or 12, for a team to drop 12 points and not ending up winning the league. Looking at our schedule, with the Copa clash, or not counting the Copa game, we've got Girona at home, Getafe away, Atlético de Madrid at home, Rayo. Look, I mean, and I mentioned these teams because teams like Rayo took points away from us. Girona were very, very, very close to taking points away. In fact, they've taken points away from Madrid. Espanyol, we have an Espanyol derby. We know things can happen in Espanyol derbies all the fucking time that can work out against us. We're still playing Real Sociedad. We're playing Mallorca, another team that has taken points or nearly took points away from us. There's tough games still, but it's never happened. So, you have to be comfortable.
You say all that, but it doesn't matter. It would have mattered had we got our shit together, but we didn't.
Right. Had the gap been 6 points, yes. Jordi Cruyff, I didn't know this, Kiyan, maybe you did, but after the game he said that in England they call these games 6-pointers, because you can either go down to 6 or go
it's
up
a 6-point
12.
swing.
Yeah.
Listen, I didn't realize the time. It's past 7. I gotta go, but
Oh shit!
I know.
Flies when you're having fun.
I guess I just wanted to say this.
Go.
I personally believe
Final
that
thought.
this Real Madrid team, you gotta be careful how I word this. I think Barcelona are having a great league season. No denying that. My personal opinion, subjective opinion, and belief is that Real Madrid are better than Barcelona if maximized. If they maximize their tactical capacity and the talent they have and their minute distribution. And it's frustrating to me that we haven't maximized our potential.
And your answer to the question is, I'm not gonna even go against what you just said, but the answer to this question is Carlo, the man to get the maximum out of this group.
Yeah, not in the league. It's not happening. So yeah, like I think I'm like kind of answering the question about like, because I always there's a cycle I think to every reign, and even the good ones have to eventually be changed. And this is, for a Madridista, I have a whole like notebook of quotes I like from Pep Guardiola, and the one I really like recently is the one where he says, where Rio Ferdinand is asking him about the secret to winning all these league titles, and he says, change. You have to change. Constant change. He was obviously referencing players, not coaches, because he's not going to necessarily reference himself to change. But change is important, I think, to keep it fresh, keep it hungry. And sometimes you just need the change in dynamic and things. Every cycle, like generally speaking, to me is about a 3-year cycle. There are exceptions to that rule, but you need change. And I think in this case, there is a up and coming generation of really, really awesome, promising Real Madrid footballers, and they need more faith to be trusted with, to get the keys. And I think Carlo was hesitant to hand over the keys from the old guard to the young guard in this situation. He's not only at fault. We can talk about Carvajal being brutal again, but again, we don't even have, like, the board never gave Ancelotti another right back, So I'm not putting it all on Carlo, but there needs to be a change, and it's not just one person to blame. It's players, it's coaches, and there's also presidents and decisions that need to be fixed. So, I'll just leave it there.
Tuesday, 21st of March, 8 minutes past 7 p.m. Central European time. It's Florentino out on Churros y Tácticas, folks.
Nope.
You heard it here first.
Don't take that one out of context. Don't take it
out of
context.
You heard it here first.
I love Papa Flo. Good outweighs the bad, but he has got to give Ancelotti a better roster to work with as well, like in terms of depth in certain positions. Yeah. We got to go. I got to go. Sorry.
Cut.
But edit this out.
Don't lose your accreditation. Papa Flo, I love you, Papa Flo. All right, listen, this was good. Thank you for boosting my spirits. I hope you listeners enjoyed this podcast, Post-Clasico. Fucking hell, it's international break.
Yeah.
We got to talk offline. I don't know if I can make it for the Friday pod, unfortunately.
All right, we'll talk off air. But there will be a patreon.com/Churros y Tácticas podcast this week. But Diego and I will figure out what day that happens.
Excellent.
All right, Diego. Good chatting.
Good
Congrats on yet another league title.
Thank you, sir.
We'll see you Thursday, Friday, something like that. Take care. Peace, buddy.
Peace.